personally and professionally. You're going to get burned. You're going to get hurt. The people who betrayed you, the people who took advantage of you, the people who stole from you, they just told you who they were. And I'm glad they do. I'm glad at some point they finally come clean and tell us exactly who they are so we can remove them from our lives, we can learn the lessons, and we can charge forward with a newfound sense of hope, optimism, growth, development, and an added level of security in place to make sure it doesn't happen to the degree it did before. Gentlemen, if you've been around for any amount of time, you know that the likelihood of being betrayed in your life, whether it's personally or professionally, is quite high. In fact, odds are that you've had a significant other step out on you, a girlfriend, a fiance, maybe even a wife. Odds are that you've had business dealings go south, that you've been taken advantage of, that you've been manipulated, that you've been bypassed. The reality of life is that you're just going to get sidestepped. Now, I don't always think it's malicious in intent. In fact, I would say it's probably not always, or maybe even ever, malicious in intent. Sometimes, sure. But for the most part, I think people are selfish. I think people who would betray you aren't really thinking about how it might impact you. I think those who would betray you are often putting their own self-interest ahead of yours. But I don't think they're being mean-spirited for the most part. And that's part of what I want to share with you today is, as a man, it's your job to navigate betrayal, again, personally or professionally, in a way that is conducive to your growth, conducive to your learning, and conducive to your own benefit and the people that you are trying to serve. So I'm going to share with you some things that you can do, some mindsets and some actions that you can take to ensure that in the face and wake of betrayal, that you can handle it correctly so that you can move forward, drive on, and create a better life for yourself. Now, I'm bringing this up because over the past couple of days, I've been betrayed by a handful of men in our organization who had every opportunity to share insights and thoughts and ideas with me. In fact, a couple of these guys I had reached out to for other conversations, and they had every opportunity to share with me things they were doing behind the scenes. But instead of talking with me, communicating with me, working with me, they were secretly planning and plotting behind the scenes. And it's unfortunate, but it's the reality of doing business, and it's the reality of living life. You're going to work with and be in relationships with those who don't honor commitment. They don't honor a level of respect. They don't honor the work that you've done. They don't honor the amount of time and energy and resources that you've poured into a personal relationship or a professional arrangement. And it's just the way of life. So I've dealt with this constantly, and we have to continue to learn our lessons and drive forward with newfound hope and faith. And also, I don't want us to be pessimistic. I don't want to be that way. I don't want to think broadly about people the way that I might feel about particular individuals. But let's break this down so that we can navigate betrayal, again, personally or professionally, and drive on in the wake of those who would take advantage of us. Number one, address all parties respectfully. Okay, again, I'm speaking broadly, whether it's personally or professionally, but I can't tell you how often I see a story of a man being cheated on, for example, and everybody piles on. It's a big dog pile on her about why she's this and why she's that and why you need to dump her and why this, and confront the guy and beat him up and fight with him. And while I definitely understand the sentiment, that is an inferior way of thinking. It's a very immature way of thinking. Do you have right to do that? I don't know if you have the right to do it, but I can certainly understand wanting to do it. But look, how is that going to help you? You know, if you're cheated on, for example, and your wife steps out on you with a friend or an acquaintance or maybe a perfect stranger, how is beating his ass going to help you? It's going to feel good in the moment, but now you're going to face potential legal ramifications. She's going to use that against you in divorce proceedings, custody arrangements. It's just not going to serve you. So the first thing that you need to do whenever you're confronted with betrayal is to come to it with an open mind. Now, look, I know you're pissed. I know you're bothered. I'm not telling you necessarily to turn the other cheek. I'm not telling you to be passive. I'm not suggesting that you just roll over and take what you've got coming to you. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying use your brain, all right? You're not a Neanderthal. You're an intelligent man. You're capable of rational thoughts. You can discern right from wrong. You can make good decisions, and you can be prudent with a long-term perspective in mind. Getting in fights isn't going to help you. Blowing up your business and what else could go wrong as collateral damage because you want to burn this person to the ground is not going to serve you. It's not going to help your income. It's not going to help you grow the business. It's not going to help you put a better mission forward. It's not going to help you attract new people into your organization. It's not going to help you attract a new lady if it's personally into your life. It's just going to look contentious and weak and pathetic. So don't be that way. Respect all parties appropriately. But I would say you respect all parties, not only that, but that you actually approach those parties. If it's your wife, you need to approach her and talk about it. If there's some other guy, I would say reach out to that guy and address him. Maybe don't do it in person initially because you might be tempted to get into a physical altercation, but definitely approach the person with an open mind. Not an open heart necessarily, just an open mind. Help me understand why you did this. Help me understand what happened. Give me the timeline. How long has this been going on? What have you been thinking about? What are you doing instead? The more that you can get to the bottom of what's going on, the better equipped you are going to be to address and deal with the circumstances that you have. And by the way, if you come with a rational, level-headed response to this, you're going to glean and elicit a lot of good information that you're going to be able to use down the road when it comes to fighting for and protecting your rights as a father, as a business owner, and as a man in general. Don't lose yourself and don't lose the long-term war because you're so worried about winning this battle. You've already lost. Chalk it up. You've lost. Now, your job is to mitigate any potential risk, figure out what's going on, and approach the situations appropriately. Number 2, treat all innocent bystanders as gracefully as you possibly can. All right, there's going to be people who are going to have some fallout from this. If it's a business betrayal, business partners may try to steal your clients. They might try to poach your employees. They might try to bring other people into the circumstances. They might try to spread rumors and gossip. People do that on a personal level too. You know, you see this when people go through divorces and all of a sudden they're talking ill about each other and they're pitting the kids against each other and they're working angles with their families and their in-laws. A lot of these people, they're just innocent bystanders, okay? Maybe they're innocent, maybe nothing at all. Maybe they're just kind of dumb and naive and they didn't know what they were getting themselves into. Maybe they were manipulated and you should take that into consideration, but also people don't always know and people can be fooled and deceived. You've got family relationships that could be salvaged or could blow up based on how you handle the innocent bystanders. If it's a business and somebody's trying to poach your clients and you blow up at your clients because somebody else was spreading gossip or rumors about you, do you think that's going to help you keep your clients or do you think they're going to go elsewhere? Of course they're going to go elsewhere. If somebody betrays you in business and wants to steal your employees and you blow up at all the employees who were tempted by these individuals and you blow up with them, they're not going to stick around. They're not going to be excited or thrilled to be around and be part of your organization. They're going to be much more tempted to leave. So this becomes self-fulfilling prophecy at this point. Take a chill pill, relax, take a deep breath, give it a few hours, give it 24 hours, give it a couple of days if you need to. But whenever you go to approach these people who have betrayed you, do that with respect and then always make sure you're trying to get the full story, the full ramification of what's going on, especially with those other people who might just be in the wake of collateral damage. They're not out to get you. In fact, they would support you if they saw you handle this correctly. That's your kids, that's your clients, that's your employees, that's your executives, that's everybody in your organization who might have just been caught up in what's going on, don't make it worse. Don't exacerbate the problem. Number 3, there's lessons to be learned. All right, when you're betrayed, and I'm not justifying betrayal. I'm not justifying that your wife might step out on you and cheat on you. I'm not justifying that a business partner might take advantage of all your hard work and try to steal your clients and your employees and take your business ideas and go elsewhere. I'm not justifying that. That's scum of the earth behavior. These people are vile, they're repulsive, they're cowardly, they're weak, and they're scummy. Okay, so I'm not justifying that behavior. But what I would suggest that we do is that there's a lesson to be learned. People don't betray you just because. They betray you for a reason. Okay, your wife betrayed you because she found something in some other guy. Your business partner betrayed you because maybe he wasn't on the same page with you as business or as your business ideas. Or maybe he thought he could do it better. Or maybe it was just a misalignment in values or goals and objectives. But whatever it was, you can learn the lesson and you can separate the fact that these people are behaving with deep character flaws at a minimum and separate that from the fact that maybe there's something you can learn from this so that this does not happen again. I'm not saying that you need to welcome the betrayer with open arms and embrace them again because you understand where they're coming from. I would not even encourage you to do that, but there is a lesson to be learned so that you don't get burned and hurt down the road. Okay, learn the lesson. Was I not showing up for my significant other in a powerful way? Did she lose attraction with me because I let myself go? Did I not continue to grow my business, expand my business? Were there offerings and services that I could have provided that maybe I should have had I been more aware of this? There's so many lessons to be extracted if you come to this with an open mind about what needs to be learned so that you can better equip yourself moving forward. Now, once you've learned the lessons, you've addressed all parties respectfully, you're treating innocent bystanders gracefully. Now what you need to do is you need to start being aware of red flags. Because I'd be willing to bet that if your spouse cheated on you, there were some red flags. There were probably some moments in time where you thought, oh, I wonder if she's having an affair, or she's talking to me about this guy at work, but it feels like she has some level of affection towards him, or there's a change in her facial expressions, or the little glistening in her eye. Or maybe there's some unexplained circumstances going on with where she was at a particular time or how private she might be with her phone where she wasn't before. If a business partner starts talking about these things and you hear whisperings of other things going on and backroom dealings and behind the scenes gossip and bullcrap, those are little red flags. They should be alarm bells to you. And if you're aware of this and you know what the red flags are, then you can more easily deal with them. And that brings us to point number 5, is to build in boundaries. So if your spouse is cheating on you, and you know she is because she's not being open and honest about her schedule or her routine or the relationship she has or what she does throughout the day, then when you dump her, and you probably ought to if she's cheating on you, then you can look into other relationships for the same patterns of behavior. If the next woman that you get into a relationship with is in secret, she doesn't disclose what she's doing, maybe she has a bunch of male friends, quote unquote friends, maybe she's not being honest, maybe she shows up to your place at weird times and connects with you at variable times throughout the day. Like you already know what's happening because you've seen it before. You look for patterns, and if the pattern exists, it's likely that it's happening. What is it? Occam razor, or is that what it? I can't remember what it's called, but it's a phenomenon where the simplest explanation is usually the right one. Okay, the simplest explanation is usually the right one. And if you think she's cheating on you because of all these red flags that you've seen before, she's probably cheating on you. If there's a business partner who is being shady, Having separate and secret conversations with clients that you're not aware of, setting up other businesses on the side, like just doing shady things. It's pretty safe to assume that this is an individual who is doing something on the side at the cost of your business. Be aware of that. Look for red flags, because once you know what those flags are, then you build in boundaries. And if you have a business partner who has other ventures, maybe that's not a business partnership you're willing to get into. You build in things into the contract. If he starts having conversations with your vendors outside of you being involved, you know what's going on. Build in a boundary. Say, hey, unless you stop doing this, you're out. Be in control of what's going on. Always. And if people start to fall in those categories, explain to them why you have this boundary. Ask them to honor the boundary. And if they can't personally or professionally honor the boundaries that you've set up, then you have to let them go. I know that might be your quote unquote dream woman, but if you have boundaries in place and things that you can't live without based on things that have happened in the past, it's okay. She can honor those boundaries or not, and she's free to make her decisions, but you don't have to abide by them. You don't have to live with that. If you have a business partner that does things that you don't like because you know where this leads, you don't have to be in business with them. You're a sovereign man. You have complete control over your life. And every time I bring up boundaries, people always say, well, people can live their own life. They can do what they want. Yes, they can. I'm not telling you to force a person to adhere to what you have to say. I'm saying communicate your boundaries effectively with other individuals. And if they want to abide by them and be in some sort of a relationship with you, then here it is. These are the terms in which I'm willing to be in a relationship. If you'd like to do that, I'd like to be in a relationship with you. If you can't do that, won't do that, don't want to do that, that's okay too. You're free to go, live your life, and I'm free to go find a business partner or a romantic interest who's going to be more aligned with the boundaries that I have in place. And by the way, you should be able to honor their boundaries as well, because they've likely been hurt and they've likely been burned. And so when they offer their boundaries to you, ask for clarification, ask good questions, figure out why they have those boundaries in place, and then ask yourself, is this something that I as a man, a sovereign, responsible man, am willing to live by? If you are, you better honor that commitment forever, unless you say otherwise. But if you're not, don't get into the relationship. Now, I will say this, things change over time, right? The way that we feel about romantic interest changes. I'm not saying be flippant about your committed relationships, but they do change. Business partners have different ideas all the time, and they have desires to go in different directions. You owe it to your person, whether it's your significant other or a business partner, to be as honest and transparent as you possibly can. And the only reason you wouldn't do that is because if you were, they'd find you out, they'd squash the mutiny, and you'd be left in the dust. Well, you know what? If you're going to be sneaky and you're going to be deceitful and you're going to betray people, then that's what you deserve. You deserve to be found out. You deserve to be ratted out. You deserve not to be able to mooch off of what other people have done, what they've created, and the resources they poured into you and their organization. You should be found out, and you should be shunned. And you should not be welcomed back in their circle again. It's the reality of it. Not because I don't want the best for these individuals, not because I don't believe there's a path to redemption, I do, but because you are not willing to expose yourself to unnecessary hardship, heartache, frustration, contention, and frankly, other people stealing and taking advantage of you. I'm not okay with it. I don't think you should be okay with it. And if we follow these 5 rules, we'll be better equipped to deal with it when it comes up, and we'll be more likely to address that before it comes up in the future. Again, how a man overcomes betrayal. Number 1, he addresses all parties, even the guilty ones, all parties respectfully. Number 2, he treats innocent bystanders gracefully. Number 3, he learns the lessons that need to be learned. Number 4, he now looks for the red flags to see if it's moving in that direction down the road. And number 5, he builds in the boundaries, he communicates those effectively, and he does not get involved personally or professionally with individuals who constantly overstep those boundaries or are not willing to respect them. It's tough out there, guys. Man, it is tough. Personally and professionally. You're going to get burned. You're going to get hurt. You're tempted to be a pessimist. Don't. Be an optimist. Things are going to be okay. The people who betrayed you, the people who took advantage of you, the people who stole from you, they just told you who they were. And I'm glad they do. I'm glad at some point they finally come clean and tell us exactly who they are so we can remove them from our lives, we can learn the lessons, and we can charge forward with a newfound sense of hope, optimism, growth, development, and an added level of security in place to make sure it doesn't happen to the degree it did before. Guys, if you're suffering from betrayal, I feel for you. I really do. A couple of resources on a personal level. There's a program that we have coming out mid-September, so in the next couple of weeks, called Divorce Not Death. If you go to divorcenotdeath.com, you'll find that. And also check out our very exclusive brotherhood, the Iron Council. We've been doing this for, I would say, longer than just about anybody else with regards to a exclusive men's group. There's a lot of groups, masterminds, things like that. We work with men exclusively, and there's reasons for that. And we've been doing this for over 10 years now. So we're opening up September 15th at orderofman.com/Iron Council. And again, divorce, not death. All right, guys, tough out there. Put on your armor. You're going to need it, but don't get to be a pessimist. Don't get down on life. Just get smarter, do better, and ultimately drive on. All right, guys. If you have any thoughts on how to overcome betrayal, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram at Ryan Michler or Twitter at Ryan Michler. And until then, go out there, take action, overcome the betrayal that you face, and become the man you are meant to be.